Today I'm going to be uttering some words I shouldn't really say. I have never seen Bob's Burgers, and for some of you, just hearing that makes you want to put me inside of an egg, raise me, love me, make me your little chick. I get fully grown, you take me to the slaughterhouse, and you eat me with a smile on your face, because it's absolutely criminal that I have never seen a single episode of Bob's Burgers. I mean, let's just hear it from the man himself. Hey, Succubus, what do you think about this?
No, bro. That is absolutely criminal. How have you never watched Bob's Burgers?
I
It's a
don't
very
know.
good show. Lots of seasons. There's so
Sure
many
it is.
episodes, so many goofy characters. How have you never seen it, bro? You're
What
a
can I say?
blubbering buffoon ape, and you deserve to rot in the bottomless pits of hell.
Listen, and you deserve to be a virgin for the rest of your life. You're never coming out of there. Don't you dare insult me. Everybody on here is gonna think I'm mentally ill or something talking to you, you silly ape. Either way. Yes, it's true. I've never seen a single episode of Bob's Burgers. Of course, I've seen some clips here and there, but I've never actually sat down and watched a full episode. So today, we're going to be deciding, is Bob's Burgers actually good? Does it deserve all these seasons? I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm going into it blind. So is it actually good? Who knows? That's what we're going to find out. Let's find out. If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every single day. We're on that road to 50,000 subscribers, and you don't want to miss it. So now let's finally take a look at Bob's Burgers. Taking a look at one of the best episodes in the series because we gotta start off strong. Might as well start off with one of the greatest things that the show has ever produced. We have the episode Glued Where's My Bob? And honestly, my initial first thoughts is I love the way all the characters talk in this show. It has a very casual, nonchalant vibe to it where nothing really feels that serious, and that ultimately makes the conversations feel a lot more down to earth and a lot more relatable, which makes the show overall at least more enjoyable to me. The beginning of the episode is just them talking about getting gooped, you know, which sounds like a awful thing to be going around, you know, it's a dirty, stinky prank, really.
Ah, guacamole! No, shaving cream!
I would hate if I'm just doing something natural, like, for example, you know, trying to open the fridge and all of a sudden there's a slimy liquid on my hand. Hopefully, not a white liquid, because then I would be very concerned what that might entail for me. But either way, all of Bob's kids are just gooping everywhere. They're just gooping it all over the place. Gooping a little here, gooping a little there, putting a little goop everywhere. So that sets up some foreshadowing for what this episode is supposed to entail. Bob, he gets a phone call and he's all like, hello? And he gets a phone call from this one guy who sets up this big interview with this magazine so that he could finally get put on the map. It's very exciting, very thrilling. Oh dear, what is going to happen? And I really like this one character. I think the kid's name is Gene. It's the son, I think. He was really a shine throughout the entire episode for some of the comedy that was featured, where they're talking about the magazine, and he immediately says something that just put me off a little bit. It was just like, I want to be pregnant like Demi Moore and get painted.
I hope it's Annie Leibovitz. I want to be pregnant and painted like Demi Moore.
I was like, what? You know, you're like 9 years old. Why are you asking to be pregnant? And I'm pretty sure that it is a man. I'm not entirely sure because they all have like those voices where you can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure that Gene is the son for the family. And they're just sitting there like, I want to be pregnant like Demi Moore, please. I would love to. And I was just, you know, that was a little bit interesting. So Bob, he cuts all the crap and he's like, okay guys, I need to be serious with you right now. There will be no more gooping today. There can be none of that. We need to be ready for this interview. And they start asking Bob a bunch of questions if he's ready for the interview. And I love his response. Just unbelievable, so unbelievably much, because who would say this? Well, I haven't really had any interviews before, but I've interviewed myself in the bathtub. And they ask him about it. They're like, well, how did that go? And he's like, well, one of them I walked out of. I was sick of it. I was done with what they were saying. And that just sounds really funny to me. Can you imagine interviewing yourself and you create this entire scenario where you're like, you know what? Fuck you, bitch. I don't need this job anyway. I'm done. You know what? Your mother can kiss my ass. I just like the thought of that. I just think that's a lot of fun. Either way, so he goes, and he's about to sit on the toilet, you know, his own toilet, not the restaurant toilet, and it turns out that Gene was shitting in that toilet, and it can't be flushed because he has to come and visit them sometimes, which is weird. And then he's gonna go to the bathroom, and I guess Gene was supposed to already go to the bathroom because Gene just has the beautiful line, "Cheese, I'm doing a cheese cleanse physically and spiritually."
Take his mid-morning bathroom break for some reason.
I'm on a cheese cleanse, physically and spiritually.
Which is why he hasn't went to the restroom yet. So Bob, he sits down on that toilet, and he has been the ultimate amount of gooped. Just an immense amount of goop, where he now is stuck to the toilet because there was sticky glue goop all over the toilet.
Is it possible it's glue?
I don't know. Why?
Because I'm stuck to the toilet!
And he's stuck to it. And I don't know, there's something about a extremely linear plot like this that just feels so refreshing, because it feels like every other adult animated show nowadays, it always needs a and a B plot. There always has to be two things going on so you can include all the characters. It's just refreshing to see a plot where it's just all of the characters in the show, they're right there, you could see them, you could hear them, they're all cracking jokes, and they're all dealing with the same thing. I think it's inherently more fun and shows a lot of confidence in your ability to write when you can just focus on one linear story for 22 minutes, and they just continuously knock it out of the park here, where he's stuck to the toilet, and Linda walks over and she's like, Bob, what do you mean you're stuck to the toilet, Bob, don't you know that the interviewers are coming today? And he's like, yes, Linda, I remember. And it's just that nonchalant conversation that I like. I like all the, like satire, the satirical, everything feels very sarcastic. It's all just, it's all in good fun. And it turns out that the only thing that could possibly remove Bob from the toilet is nail polish remover. So he's sitting there and he's waiting for this guy to show up. I'm sorry, I don't know all the characters' names. Again, I have never seen the show before, but he's like this handyman guy. He's waiting for him, and Bob is sitting there. And what better to do while you're sitting on the toilet, while you're sitting on that porcelain throne? You've just released the thunder, the kraken has been escaped, the turtle has come out of the shell, if you want to put it that way, and you're sitting there, you're stuck there. What else could you do but break out in a little bit of a song? And it's beautiful. Bad things happen in the bathroom, but luckily it's a vacuum. Yeah, sing it.
Bad stuff happens in the bathroom.
And they just start singing about how nothing wrong could happen today. And it's honestly a pretty good song with pretty good visuals. I'm all for it. It's a lot of fun. What a song. What a great song. I'm having a decent amount of fun. So then Teddy shows up, and just in like typical handyman fashion, they gotta get progressively more naked in order to do things, so he's not going to just, naturally get that door open to get Bob out of that bathroom. He rips off his shirt and he's like, alright Bob, the shirt's off, I'm getting you out of there, buddy. And he sprints at it, bursts it down, and now everybody is staring at Bob on this toilet, and Bob just utters the beautiful, wonderful words, Linda, kill me.
Linda?
Bob?
Kill me.
Of course, Bob would want to die. I mean, who wouldn't want to die on the most embarrassing day of their life? I mean, honestly, like, if I was in a public establishment, I was on the toilet, and all of a sudden I couldn't get up, I would probably start panicking. I wouldn't know what to do, and then just to have hundreds of people all funnel in to see me on this toilet, just staring at me, just like looking at my bare thighs and just being like, quite the predicament. Let me stare at your asshole. Oh yes, yes, that's quite stuck. That is what happens to Bob. Lots of people just walking in, trying to get him out of here. And you know what I was thinking during this episode? I was thinking this was the perfect type of scenario to call the Smiling Friends about. I would love a crossover. I mean, obviously I've only seen like one episode of this, but I feel like a crossover with something super whimsical like the Smiling Friends showing up to help Bob. I think that would be unbelievably hilarious, like Alan walking up like, oh, hello, Master. I see you're in quite a little bit of a pickle right here. Yes, you have your tushy stuck to the toilet. Well, we're the Smiling Friends. We could help you. I don't know. I thought that would be interesting. One of the characters talks like Alan, and it just brought a deep thundering boom inside of me that the Smiling Friends need to come and help Bob smile. But either way, he's dealing with all the shenanigans. He's dealing with all of this. So, everybody's just trying to help him get ready for the interview and thinking of how to get him off of that toilet. And it's fun nonetheless. Eventually, the children, Luis calls a dentist, and she's like, advocating for the dentist, which is such an odd thing. Like, oh yes, my ass is clinging to the toilet and I can't get it up. Let's call a fucking dentist. Of course. And so the dentist shows up and he's like, yes, your ass appears to be quite stuck to this toilet. Oh yes, it's quite stuck. Yes. Oh yes, I think we should rip it off like a tooth coming out of your mouth, like where you tie a string to a tooth and you yank it. That's what they try to do, but they can't rip Bob's gaping ass off of this. It's just too double cheeked up on that toilet. There's nothing they could do. So he's stuck there, and the interviewers, they show up and they basically just torment Bob, saying, well, nobody really wants to read about a man on a toilet. When you're sitting on the toilet, when you're taking a big fat dumpy, you don't really want to read about another man stuck on a dumpy. So they're not very interested in poor little Bob. There's really nothing he could do to entertain them to get them to stay, but everybody outside of there in Luis calls for Toilet Bob. Everybody starts cheering and just praising Bob for the man that he is. Yes, things go wrong at this restaurant, but that is okay. They're not willing to let their man Bob down, so they start going, Toilet Bob, Toilet Bob, Toilet Bob. Yes, of course. And just like, the second coming of Christ, he has risen. Bob rises from the toilet. All you hear is the heavenly angels singing, Hallelujah. And Bob is back up. He's up, he's walking, and he gets that spot on that magazine, living his dreams. He has truly risen, and he has earned it, and it has a happy ending to the episode. Overall, I thought this was a lot of fun. I really don't have any complaints. I thought all the characters were funny. I thought every single joke that they attempted was well timed. And again, it has that down-to-earth vibe to it with that comedy where the conversations, they're the main driving force of the comedy. It doesn't really revolve around like shock humor or anything like that. It's just good jokes, well written, well timed, and I enjoy it. I enjoy all the characters so far, and I'm looking forward to watching more episodes. There's really nothing to complain about here. There was good jokes, good song. I don't know if songs are featured heavily in this show, but either way, that was a good sequence with some good visuals there. I was all for it, and it was just overall a really funny concept. I really like this episode. If I was to rate this one 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 9 out of 10. This was really good. Taking a look at one of the worst episodes in the series, we have the episode Christmas in the Car, because we honestly need to get the full picture. I need some of the best and some of the worst, and if this is the worst that Bob's Burgers has to genuinely offer, because I scoured, I looked all over for what people were saying for possible options for worst episode, this is good. This is amazing, honestly. If this is the worst, then this show is just a straight up 10 out of 10 masterpiece the majority of the time, because this is hilarious. It's obviously about Christmas, and the beginning opening scenes tackles one of my biggest grievances about the holiday season, because Linda, she's all like, oh Bob, we really need a Christmas tree the day after Halloween. What is your fucking problem? If you get a Christmas tree the day after Halloween, then you need to really rethink everything about yourself, because god damn it, why aren't you thinking about the gobbler, huh? Why aren't you thinking about that guy that goes gobble, 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 that you could eat and you could enjoy? You could have some mashed potatoes, you could have some pumpkin pie, you could have that gooky gobbler, and you could gobble him up and spend time with your family being thankful. But no, your greed, it sickens me, because the holiday season does not start until fucking December 1st, okay? Maybe Black Friday, but if you're getting a Christmas tree the day after Halloween, you're doing it wrong. You're not giving any time or thought to them there pilgrims or them there turkeys, okay? The millions of turkeys that die, they deserve their damn month, okay? That's just what I need to point out there. Either way, I really like the joke that them getting the tree the day after Halloween leads to the tree dying, and then they get the tree the day after Thanksgiving, and then it also dies before Christmas, so now they have to go and get a brand new tree in time for the holiday season, which I think is a lot of fun. They're just in the car, they're driving, they start tickling him, and basically I can kind of understand why this would be the least popular episode, especially because they basically just torture Bob the entire time. Like, the majority of the episode is just them being a dick to this guy, just non-stop. They eventually find a place to get a nice juicy tree. We get the kids talking about how they're gonna violate Santa, tie him up and just, I don't know, treat him like a slave, maybe force Santa to make charcuterie boards for the rest of their life. That's just what Santa's job is going to be. And so they all get this nice tree. They're gonna head home, and then Bob is all like, "Hey kids, am I good? Am I good to back out?" And they of course say, "Yes, Dad. Yes, Papa." And he wasn't good to back out because they almost get brutalized by this candy cane truck. And this honestly pissed me off a little bit. Like, why are they being such an asshole to this guy? Because fucking Linda, like, they just clearly cut this guy off. They're lucky to even be alive. And Linda's like, "Oh, this guy's being a jackass, Bob. Oh my God." And she starts yelling at this guy, and they start honking the horn and singing jingle bells at this guy.
Come on, kids, sing along. Go bells.
Kids don't sing jingle bells. Jingle all the bells.
And honestly, I mean, foreshadowing in hindsight, but if I was this guy and I was, it's a Christmas Eve, I'm working my job, doing my labor, and all of a sudden I get cut off and there's a family screaming at me that I'm a jackass and singing jingle bells very loudly, I'm sorry. You're getting plowed out of the way. I'm getting rid of you. That's what I would have done. And this man ends up getting very angry. I'm surprised he didn't just brutally murder them all and crash into them. But he follows them for a very long time in this episode. He just starts attacking them. They're just driving on the road and he's like trying to run them off, and Bob barely manages to survive. And again, the Linda and all the kids piss you off a little bit because Bob clearly just barely survived, and he's like, oh God, that was a close one, everybody. Is everybody all right? And they're like, "Bob, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why were you doing that? Come on, he was just driving along the highway." And then they go in the diner, and Bob, he just wants to get home to his ham that is cooking. That's very important. And everybody wants to have a Dutch baby, so they have to all sit at a booth and wait for it. And Bob, just being, a good citizen because he was just run off the road, he decides to try and let a officer know that this is happening. And the officer is just also a asshole to Bob. Why? Why is everybody being so mean to him? He has to call Teddy to turn off his oven. And Teddy, he goes in there and he finds a little knob, turns off the oven. It was a very hard, long process for him. And he ends up eating Santa's cookies. And he says milk is in the fridge. And he ends up getting in Santa's trap that the kids set up, which is just a fun little side plot. It's still mainly just one linear plot, but you also just get to watch Teddy suffer and get stuck to a fridge.
Milk, place your hand through Christmas wreath. That sounds fun.
So then they're driving on this bridge and the candy cane truck emerges once again and starts chasing them. It's scary. It's nerve-wracking. What is going to happen? They end up going in the forest and they get stuck in a ditch. They don't know what to do. And it's just such a brilliant family conversation. We all think we're going to die. We think we're going to freeze to death or die to the candy cane man. And what is the one question you would have? You're 9 years old. What would you ask your parents if you're about to die? You're aware of the fact that you're about to die. Where do babies come from? And I was expecting some shitter answer like, "Oh yes, when the crocodile impregnates the giraffe, oh they have beautiful interspecies sex," and we're just left with a little, inbred on the ground. I thought it was going to be something whimsical like that. No, Linda looks at them all and is like, I have to be honest with y'all, you come from my vagina.
What?
Where do babies come from?
You all come from my vagina.
Yep, that's it. And it made me laugh. I thought it was funny. And then the next sequence that happens is just unbelievably hilarious, where Bob gets out of the car and the candy cane guy gets out of the car. They confront each other, and he's a very angry little man. A very, very angry little man. He's very upset about this entire situation, and he says something that, you probably shouldn't say to anybody if you're about to fight them. I personally wouldn't walk up to somebody who I'm about to fist fight and be like, "I'm gonna bang your ass. I'm gonna bang your ass real good. Your ass, it's about to get banged."
If you could just help us pull it out, because you have a big truck.
I'm about to bang your ass, and you're asking me for help?
Bang my ass?
What? You want to run that one by me again? Because that doesn't sound quite right. There's something a little bit off about that statement. Just throwing that out there. And so he wants to fight Bob, and Bob just is all like, "Oh, you could just, hit me in the stomach, and then we'll call it good. Oh, yes, do that." And Bob has this discussion with his family where they all just mock Bob once again. There's literally a sequence in there where they're like, "Well, walk at him like this, walk at him all feminine, like..." was like, what the fuck is even happening? Why are they pointing out every single flaw about Bob in this episode? I'll never understand it. I mean, I like Bob. This is my second episode, and I'm all for Bob. I think he's a great, wonderful man. He's splendid individual, truly. And so he walks over there, and the angry man, he has the audacity to say, okay, I'm ready to bang your butt.
That's why I wanted to bang your butt.
I thought we agreed not to say that.
Now, that's making it even worse. You sound like you're the diddler about to baby oil that butt and bang it all over. Like the diddler's coming for it. He's gonna have an entire party ready to bang that ass. And so, Bob is all like, I thought we agreed to not say that. He takes a punch in the gut, and they just decide to give him the Christmas tree with the entire reason that they're even there, and he goes and has a Merry Christmas. They have a Merry Christmas. That's pretty much the end of the episode. It was fun. For the worst episode, I had a lot of fun. I probably didn't describe it very well, because, I mean, there wasn't that much happening, but there was enough happening. Either way, I thought it was a lot of fun. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it probably a solid 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Now taking a look at the random category, I have the episode Larger Brother, Where Fart Thou? And honestly, that title isn't very convincing. It doesn't sound like it's going to be very good, but when I was scanning which episode I wanted to choose for the random category, they were wearing shrimp outfits in the picture for this one, and I got a little bit excited because, you know, shrimp. Who wouldn't get excited by the prospect of seeing people wear shrimp costumes? I don't know anybody who wouldn't. So either way, this episode is the first one that I've watched that has multiple different plot lines instead of just one linear plot line, and it does feel a little bit different from the other two episodes, but it's still entertaining nonetheless. I don't really think the jokes landed as much in this episode, but it was still very entertaining. So the episode opens with, Bob and Linda having to be responsible adults. So Linda's all like, we gotta do taxes! We gotta do taxes! And they're gonna go and see their taxing accountant guy, who apparently they laugh at all of his jokes, even though he's not very funny. At the same time, Tina, she's in school, just minding her business, and then she sees this illustrious, dapper-looking individual, and they lock eyes, and she's immediately like, wow, eye contact, because that is all you really need sometimes, just a little luscious lock of lust and desire to truly fall in love. And that's what happens between Tina and this guy, except this guy, he's got to go to detention, and so Tina comes up with the most brilliant way to get herself into detention. She looks at the principal or the teacher or whoever, and she's like, oh, your mom is dumb.
Tina, what is going on?
Your mom
What?
is dumb. And reading is dumb.
Holy shit. That right there is one of the most nasty, dirty, stinky things I've ever heard in a single show. That insult, like Tina literally needs to be hosed off by a giant fire hose after saying something so despicable about a adult's mother. Oh dear Lord, that was dirty. I can't believe she would say that. At the same time, Luis and Jean, they're on their own, and they find a 3-year-old cantaloupe inside of a fridge, and they decide that they need to destroy it, they need to get rid of it, they need to just bomb this cantaloupe. Then we cut to Bob and Linda, and they're at the meeting, and they're just laughing at everything this guy is doing. And this guy, he's a little bit silly. He's the type of guy to where if he was just looking at you like you're at a nice dinner, he would just start going do 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 do, you know, just like start playing imaginary instruments and hoping that you'll laugh and just deliver some knee slappers because it's just that fucking funny. You know, he's just that kind of guy. And they start, he's a nice guy, though. He offers some cookies. They all start slamming these cookies together. And he receives a phone call, and he's like, don't eat the cookies. Why? And there turns out that they're weed cookies. Lots of MJ, Mary Jane, marijuana has been poured into these cookies, so you best believe they are about to get high as fuck. Linda ate 3 cookies, Bob only ate 1, and the accountant man ate 2. And you know that they're starting to feel it just a little bit when fucking Linda stands up and she's like, I gotta pee. I have to pee right now.
I feel like I'm peeing. Am I peeing right now? Bob, can you check?
So are our taxes like mostly done?
Wow, look at all these numbers.
And fucking the accountant's staring, and he's like, well, These are numbers. Yes, of course they're numbers. So they're all just getting zooted out of their minds while Luis and Jean drop this cantaloupe off a thing, which causes a bully to get splashed by it, and he gets very angry and breaks into their house. That entire little side plot, it was okay for the most part. It was mainly just to establish Jean as being able to care for his sister a lot more. There's a lot of shenanigans of them running away from the bully. They end up getting in the shrimp costumes, which didn't really add that much to the episode. The really best line that we got from that was them wearing the shrimp costumes, and because they're small, a guy walks up and he's like, "You look a little bit shrimpy to be a shrimp. You're a little small." And Luis is all like, "We don't stand for shrimp, fuck, discrimination." Shit, God, I'm fucking losing my mind over here. We don't stand for shrimp discrimination. We can't have any of that. None of that. And that was the entire joke of that scene. That was really the only reason for them to be dressed up as shrimp. And it was just kind of whatever. Eventually, the bully does catch them and puts Jean into the Norwegian, like, stink lock where she just gets stinked on. And that was kind of whatever. At the same time, Tina, who is literally in this class trying to fall in love with this boy, has the realization, "I think the spark is gone. I think we've lost our romance. Is there really even a reason to have this relationship? To want this relationship?" And she locks eyes with him lusciously one more time and breaks up with him with just her eyes. God, and it's such a beautiful love story, really. It's like a shame that it ends the way that it does with a breakup, with a travesty, but every time they locked eyes, I was on the verge of crying. I had like a pint of ice cream ready, I was in a bathrobe, and I was honestly just ready to shed my skin and enter the ethereal realm because of how much I connected with this romance. And the second it ended, it's like my soul truly left my body. There was nothing left. I was ready to just, go and find something new. Maybe go to Kevin Hart, punch him in the face, like do something like that, because fuck Kevin Hart. But either way, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, Sometimes relationships end in horrible ways. Bob and Linda, they're with the accountant and they have a deep conversation. There's a lot of good scenes between all of them. It's just them being high the majority of the time, but they end up helping the accountant see himself better, where he's literally hiding in a pillow fort, and then they you should do jokes for you and not just try to make random people laugh. And he has an existential crisis, but he comes out on the better end of it, ultimately happy, ultimately good. And yeah, so that's pretty much the entire episode. There were a couple of good plot lines there, a couple of good jokes. Not my favorite episode. If I was to rank this one 1 to 10, I would give it a 6 out of 10. It was still very good, entertaining all the way through. I just don't think I would ever want to watch this one again, which is why I'm tanking it a couple of points. But still, entertaining, decent, had fun. So there you have it. That is my first time watching Bob's Burgers. 500 likes and I will make a part 2 to this video, taking a look at specific episodes that you guys want me to take a look at. And overall, I thought this show was a lot of fun. I think the characters work very well. I think the world building is done well. I think it's great that they focus on a linear plot. And even when they don't, the characters are good enough to carry the episode, just doing their own separate thing. I think the characters are funny. I love the voice acting. And I overall just love the world. I like how down to earth the show is. It genuinely feels a lot more casual than other adult animated comedies where everything feels so either serious, so cynical, or it's just doing things that you could never imagine in your wildest dreams. Overall, this feels like it could just be a live action sitcom. It's just down to earth, it's fun, and I like it. I think it's a very good show. Overall, would watch again. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Got plenty of content on the way. Take care of yourself. Bye.